What's going on, guys, and welcome to another video on the channel. Now, before we get started with today's video about the 2023 liveries, I do just want to quickly explain where I've been on the channel and what's going to be happening for the future. So the F1 22 My Team Career Series is over. I won't be doing it anymore. I've kind of got bored with it. Just a lot of issues here and there with the game and just not having particularly exciting races and everything. So the F1 22 My Team Career Mode series will not be continuing. I may do some other gaming F1 stuff here and there, and I will also be doing gaming content, but for at least the foreseeable future, I'm going to be focusing on stuff like we're doing today, the real life F1 content sort of stuff, rankings, tier lists, stuff like that. I also kind of want to do you know, sort of reviews after each race of how I think each driver and team did. So that's kind of what's coming up for the channel in the future. And yeah, I am sorry for the My Team stuff, but unfortunately it's just not become fun the last few times I've done it. Not very interesting races, and just all around just not been having a lot of fun with the game and with making those videos. But today though, we are going to be ranking all 10 of the main liveries for the F1 2023 season for all 10 teams. So we're going to be doing this from my least favorite to my favorite. Remember, this is my personal opinion. I'd love to know yours in the comments down below, but yeah, this is my personal ranking of how I rank the new liveries of the 2023 grid of the 2023 season, I guess. So we're going to start off with number 10, and for that I've gone for Alpine. Now Alpine for me they've just not really, a lot of cars this season, or pretty much every car to be honest, has gone for a lot of black on the liveries because of weight saving and stuff. They're using carbon. I think with Alpine's livery though, the way they've done it, it just doesn't look good with the livery. So they've still got the blue and the pink that they did last season, but they've kind of got this black in between it, kind of towards the back of the car, where the engine is, but also over the side pod. And I think that's the main thing from a top-down view. I think this car just doesn't look good with the black segmenting it, and from the side it just doesn't look good either. There's just too much black going on there. I don't mind the kind of black pattern that they've got, fading out from the blue and the pink, but I just think the fact that you've got pink and then black and then blue, it just feels really kind of mismatched and disorganized, and personally I just don't really like the look of it. At number 9, I've got AlphaTauri. Now I think this livery is a bit of a mess. I was kind of tossing up whether I put this at number 10 and Alpine at number 9. I ended up putting this just a little bit higher because I like that they've tried to change it up a little bit. Now, things I do like about this, I like how the white kind of transitions into the navy. There's a little bit of a pattern there. They could have done a bit more with it maybe, but I like how they tried something a bit different there. So that's nice. I do also like the bits of red here and there. I think a little bit of red, on like the wheel arches, the wheel covers, whatever you want to call them, and on the rear wing and stuff, I think actually looks pretty good. I don't like though the red on the halo. I think the red on the halo is too much. I don't love the all-in bit down the bottom either. And then just generally, I mean, the AlphaTauri logo on the side of the car is way too big. It is massive. I think it just looks too monstrous. It doesn't need to be that big. And also the Flex Boy on the front wing, just like last year, I think the orange of that just really clashes with the car. I thought it clashed last year, but I didn't hate it. But I think with the red on the car, it now clashes even more this year, and I just really don't like it. So yeah, the AlphaTauri for me, I like that they've done something a little bit different, but it doesn't really work for me. Now at number 8, I've gone for the Alfa Romeo. This one may be a bit of a surprise because a lot of people have been raving on about this car, and on the most part I do quite like it. It is basically just the car from last year, but instead of white and red, it's black and red. And personally, I preferred it white and red. I think the white and red looked better, especially with how much black is on liveries this year. I think it just makes it not stand out as much, and I don't think it looks as good with the black compared to what it did with the white. On the side angle especially, and also the top view, it's just very much a straight line and a separation of color. I just think it looks a little bit bland. I don't hate it, definitely don't hate it. I definitely prefer this one over the two previous ones, but yeah, I personally do think I thought it looked better last year with the white. At number 7, I've got the Haas. So this one is an interesting one. First livery to be revealed, and when I first saw it, I thought I quite like this. They've switched it up a little bit. It kind of looks a bit more like their 2020 car, you know, with the black, the white, and the red. Of course, they've now got MoneyGram as their main sponsor, so that's a big thing with the livery as well. But there are some issues here. Firstly, the MoneyGram logo, I think, is a bit too big. It just looks a little bit, and just the placing of it as well. I think it could have maybe been a little bit further up the kind of whatever you call that bit. It's not the engine cover. It's just a bit further up the, yeah, whatever that is. I think it should be a little bit further up and maybe a little bit smaller. I think from most angles, from the top view, I actually really like how this car looks from the top angle. Really like the, you know, the white with the red stripe with the black. I think it looks really good. And the front with the white and then the red and black on the front wing, I also think looks really good. But I think from a side view, this one looks very bland. There's way too much black. And I'm not the biggest fan of how the white kind of, you know, segments away, you know, in that thin line with the kind of squares. I just don't think that looks great. There's a bit too much black going on from this angle. But yeah, I think from a front angle and from kind of a top angle, it looks pretty good. But yeah, from the side, I'm not the biggest fan. At number 6, I've gone for the Red Bull. I was kind of debating where to put this car. I've only got one picture of it because their Twitter page, which is where I got all these pictures for, apart from Williams. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, Red Bull only had one picture of their car when they launched it. So yeah, I've put the Red Bull at number 6. It's pretty much exactly the same as last year's car. Now, to be fair, a lot of the teams this year have pretty much got the same car livery, but with a bit more black here and there. Whereas Red Bull haven't really, well, they haven't really, at least in this livery, seem to have gone for this black, although I don't think this is their actual car. It's just a show car, so it'll probably look a bit different when we actually get it out on track for the season. But yeah, it's pretty much the same livery again. I like the Red Bull livery, but I've put it a bit further down because I think other teams have initiated, not initiated, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but they've made their liveries at least a bit more interesting. And yeah, it's all right. At number 5, I've gone for Williams. They've also kind of got the same livery as last season. Little changes here and there. I think there's a little bit less red on it this year, which I like. I think the red clashed a little bit last year, but I think it looks pretty good here. I really like how they've done the Duracell into the top bit of the car there. I think that looks really cool. It clashes a little bit with the blue and the red with, you know, the orange, but I think all in all, it's very inventive, and on the most part, I do actually quite like that. And yeah, I mean, I liked this Williams last year when it came out, and I like it again. It's pretty much the same livery, but just with a few little changes. So yeah, not a whole lot to say there. Now at number 4, I've gone for Mercedes. Now a lot of people put this one higher, and on initial viewing, I was actually thinking this was going to be top 2 material. But now looking back on it, I like the general look of the car. Yes, it is very black. They've gone back to the black again from changing it up to silver, well, back to silver last season. I will be honest, I do quite like the silver. Although I love how the black cars look, I do kind of want the silver back more, because I think I do prefer the silver, you know, silver into a bit of black. I think that works really well. They've got no silver at all on this one, but on the most part, I really like the look of it. The one thing I don't like about this though is the driver numbers. I really don't like him. I think Lewis's 44 with the yellow looks a bit better. It kind of, you know, it goes with his T-cam and stuff, and I quite like that. But I really don't like George Russell's color. It's like they've gone for this weird kind of almost lime green color, and it just, for me, it looks really weird against the kind of bluey teal color that they've got on the car. I think if they had done it that color, or do what they did last year and just have a bit of a darker blue for George's number, I think that would have worked better. But here it's just kind of this kind of not very appealing green, and I think that really makes what could have been possibly my favorite car, because they've also got rid of all that red from the top, like airbox thing, and there's just like a little strip of it for Ineos. I think that looks way better than having all that red up there. But unfortunately, those numbers just put it down a little bit for me, but I think this is still a very good looking car. At number 3, I've got Ferrari. Now, this one initially was my favorite when first looking at it. Yes, it's simple. It always is for Ferrari. It's just a red car, but it looks good. Red cars look good, and Ferraris always look good. They don't really have to do much to them. They've added more black to the car this year, as everybody else pretty much has done with the carbon fiber. And on the most part, I like it. I like, you know, kind of at the back where they've got that bit of black, you know, around the side pods and everything. I think on the most part, it looks very good. The one bit that dropped this down for me though is on the side view where you've got Seaver. That looks out of place. I don't like that at all. Yes, I think they've just gone, oh, we can put a bit of carbon fiber here, but I think it really splits up the body and just the paintwork. If that was still red, and maybe they put a bit more, you know, they could even have put a bit more carbon on the back or even on the front wing, because they've gone for the red on the front wing, which I think looks okay, but I think it would have looked fine black because the rest of the front wing's black. But yeah, that just little bit there where the Seaver logo is, I think that just ruins it a little bit. But on the most part, I think this is a very good Ferrari livery. Now at number 2, I've got McLaren. McLaren's probably my favorite team, just with a color aspect. I mean, orange is my favorite color, and I really like the look of the McLarens. I think their car last year was pretty nice, and this is pretty much the same car again. However, they've got more black, and I don't know, it's almost very similar to Alpine in the way that it kind of cuts across in the middle, but it works better here for me because you've got the orange and the blue, cuts to black, and then kind of keeps going with the black into the chrome logo, but then you've got a little bit more of orange and blue, whereas with the Alpine, it's pink, black, blue. So for me, this works a lot better. I like how they've got the full orange wing this season. I think that looks really good as well, especially from the front angle. I think this one looks very nice. I do like it, but it isn't quite my favorite livery, because that at number 1 will go to Aston Martin. It's pretty much the same livery as last year and very similar to the one of the year before, except of course that one had the pink stripe instead of the lime green stripe. I think this was probably my favorite livery last year, and it's my favorite livery again. They haven't really changed anything, but I just really like the Aston Martin livery. Now granted, they tend to not look as good on track as they do in these photos, but every year seems like they go a little bit brighter with the green, so I'm hoping this year it's a bit brighter again. It looks even better. It just really sparkles in the sun, and just, yeah, especially these promo pictures, which is what I'm going off here. I haven't looked at any on-track driving of these cars because some of the teams have done some on-track stuff. Haven't looked at any of that. I'm purposely only going off the promotional photos, and for me, the Aston Martin looks great. I really like the look of it, and yeah, I'm excited to see it on track this year. But anyway, that is my ranking of all 10 liveries from, for the 2023 F1 season. These are all the main liveries. Of course, Alpine are using the pink livery like they did last year for the first 3 races of this season. I think if I had to rank that, I'd probably, I don't know exactly where I'd put it, probably maybe 8th, 9th, probably just behind Alfa Romeo. I do prefer that to the blue because it doesn't have that clashing as much with the pink one for me. So I think I do actually prefer it a little bit more than the standard livery, but it's still not my favorite thing in the world. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.